That would have been the easy topic, or my title. I know I need to get back up there. I was actually going to steal the music stand and work from down here this morning, but I'm going to do that. Could have been now what? But if you notice, I changed that, and I didn't change it. I had my own idea, and I said, and are they your plans or God's? And so Jeremiah 29:11, which is one of my favorites. It's one of the ones that I've taken on as a challenge to memorize. I have a couple in the book of Jeremiah. And I'm getting pretty close because tomorrow the DS is going to call me and ask me how I did since last quarter on memorizing the scriptures that he thought that, because I told him I wanted to do that. And I told you guys that, if you remember that story a bit ago. And he says, and the prophet says, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. There are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. In those days when you pray, I will listen." That was including verse 12. Verse 11 was, "I know the plans I have for you. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you future and a hope." The video we just saw, to me, seems simple enough. It's one of those things you're looking at, and this is the high school kids are going, yeah, it sounds like what I'm going to hear on graduation. I know Kayla said hers is June the 1st. On June the 1st, that somebody will come up and speak, and it'll be some person in either politics or something. For those who are old enough in the room, that we had baccalaureate, which would have been a religious service, sort of, the day or two before we graduated. It was also not uncommon. The speaker at my graduation was Randall Pratt, who was pastor of Melville United Methodist Church at the time. That was not uncommon. I'm sure Coach has been to enough graduations that we could all count our blessings and how many he's done. He's heard good speakers, bad ones, and heard them from all ranges. And the point here is that what is happening in the video, this discussion of your transition in high school into college or from college into the real world. We don't have any college grads here this morning. But the idea is, what's it all about, really? What is the plan? In fairness, if I ask the three of you, how many of the three of you are like at least 90% sure what your plan is for next year? That's pretty fair. I mean, there weren't many folks who walk, especially in this day and age, who walk out of high school going, I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly where I'm going to go and what I do. And I'm not sure there were a whole lot of folks like that when I was in school. Now, I walked out thinking for sure I was going to be a teacher. Now, the day I walked out, though, I was going to teach music. Even though before that I had really wanted to teach phys ed. But then there was some opportunity to get some scholarships in music. And that seemed like a pretty good idea. And then after 3 days in music class and realizing that I didn't have a clue what a chord structure was, then I realized music was an avocation and not a vocation. And I changed. Now in that, there was also that whole wrestling with going into ministry. But this isn't about me. It's not what this is about. It's, are they your plans or are they God's plans? And not that your plan's wrong. I'm sure the first thought is, well, he's telling me that my plans are wrong, and I've got this great idea, and I've talked to my parents about it, I've talked to my friends about it, and I'm really ready to go with this because I know this is what I want to do. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a doctor. I said I want to go to the military. Said I want to go to master licensing school, and I want to become a plumber. I want to have my own business. And those are all legit things. But this video today pointed at our seniors. But before I lose you, I'm going to say that it has not just them in mind. I'm going to say that each and every one of us are at a transition in life. And you go, well, I haven't had a big transition in life. I retired 30 years ago. I've done that. I wish I had a nickel for every time that I met with an adult and said, well, at my age, I'm not sure what else I'm supposed to do. And you've heard me say in the past that there's no retirement dates in the Bible, any more than there were any apocalyptic dates in the Bible. But let's go back to the message of the video, and let's just look for a minute. First, it opens up. It says there are many paths. It said how many of the 3 graduates have at least 2 different ideas of what they might do in life? At least 2. At least 2. At least 2. Yeah. Maybe we could put both hands up and say, I've got like 6 on this hand, 5 on the other. If you've got 6 on this hand, we need to say we'd like to see that. But I thought I threw that out. How many people think because you have those choices, and you don't have to raise your hand on this, that somehow or another that means that you're really not ready, that you've messed up, that you're sort of supposed to know? I talked to the young girl last night. She was 14 who lost her mom, and I was just asking her about middle school and having taught middle school. I said, because when I taught middle school, and Jackie will probably attest to this, that people are already pushing you to take these jobs, these surveys, and find out what your interests are, and almost get you tracked in middle school of what you're going to do. And in middle school, you're sitting around going, I just want to know when my next ball game is. I said, I want to know when I get to go to Five Guys next. Yeah, it's got nothing.